Okay. I was just putting fuel in my pressure washer and filling up this can here. And this fucking piece of shit EPA nozzle just fucking blew apart on me. So this is the second one that's done this to me. And so I figured I guess, rant and rave about this for a little while. And, you know, don't get me wrong. We need to be better for, our planet. We only got one. And I don't wish that, our air and shit look like it does in LA or, with fucking miles and miles and miles of concrete and pavement as far as the eye can see. And, I don't think we should be like China and fucking dumping, a bunch of nasty shit into rivers and all that kind of stuff. Like, we need to do better. We need to think about the long term. What's this planet going to look like in 1,000 years, 10,000 years? Which geologically is fuck all. It's absolutely nothing, but it makes me very worried for future generations to think what everything is going to be like in 1,000 years. But this bullshit here, this plastic crap, is not the fucking answer. It's some, limp dick fucking shithead, at the EPA sitting around thinking, oh yeah, this will be fucking great, this will be wonderful. We'll make this, little goddamn nozzle that fucking, you have to jerk off to use a son of a bitch and everything, and it just pisses me off. Granted, I will say that this nozzle here did work good, and I was actually really happy with it for the first year that I had it. But then, see if I can half-ass put this thing back together. We have a tab that it's got to line up on. Yeah, there you go. This did actually work good for the first year that I had it. And so the way that this works is when the barrel is all the way pushed forward, it's sealed, and then you pull the foreskin back and it dispenses fuel. And it'll actually stop the fuel flow when it gets up to this level right here. And at first it worked really well, and I was actually really happy with it. You could tip a can upside down without spilling fuel, and then stick this portion here into the fuel tank, and then it would dispense fuel, like so, and then shut off. But what the hell good does it do if it fucking breaks so goddamn easily? So hopefully you can see this is what holds it together, is this tiny little fucking bit of plastic. And so the second that you cock this thing sideways, it blows apart. And then, I'm sure that, like, you can't replace this separately from the fucking nozzle. And honestly, I wouldn't want to anyways, because what happened over time is this function here would get very stiff. And so you go to stick the thing in a fuel tank, and then it would get stuck at about like that far open, and then it would just spill fuel fucking everywhere. And so then the fucking nozzle is doing the exact thing that it was designed not to fucking do. So that nozzle came with a NATO style jerry can like this, from Lexington Container Company, and I've bought a number of these jerry cans from them in years past, when they could sell you just the can for like $45 or $50, which is a lot of money, don't get me wrong. But the last time that I went to go buy jerry cans, I got 2 red ones from Lexington Container Company. Some EPA bullshit. They had to sell you those shitty nozzles. Like, they could not sell you just a can. It had to come with those shitty nozzles. And here's the other one that broke. I was thinking about, I took all the plastic off of it, and I was thinking about maybe trying to adapt that to something else, but I'm not gonna. So, getting distracted, and I'm just pissed about this whole thing. Yeah, that EPA nozzle came with the cans from Lexington Container Company. And when I bought them, they could not sell just a can. They had to sell a can and a nozzle. And then it was like $85 or something like that. But I couldn't find these cans anywhere else. And so I bought 2 of them just to try them out. And that was about 2 years ago, something like that. And yeah, do not get these fucking nozzles. They are such a piece of shit. They work good for a little bit, and then they just go to hell. I've got a number of these cans, and these are absolutely fucking incredible. You can leave them sideways, you know, like stuff them under the toolbox of the pickup or something like that, laying on their side full of fuel. They never leak, and they, you know, like will hold air if it sits somewhere with a temperature change and everything. When you go to open this up, you'll hear a burst of air. A little bit there. But I had this one open just recently. They're kick-ass, they're wonderful, they don't spill fuel. And because they're steel and they're really well built, they're going to last a really long time. So if we're talking about being better for the environment, wouldn't something like this be a better decision because they last so fucking long? Not this one individually here, but I've got another one from 2004, and it's still fucking great. And, you know, go look around on the internet and everything. You'll see videos of people, you know, dragging these things behind their pickup and tossing them off, you know, a 2-story house and all that kind of shit. I'm not going to do that, but there's plenty of other people that do. That one that I got from 2004 came with a nozzle like this. And granted, plastic, but it fucking works. And it's been, you know, working ever since. And, you know, if anything goes wrong with this little, I don't know, nozzle, I guess, you could just stick a piece of hose on the end of here or something like that. It's, you know, nice and easy and simple and fucking easy to use. Versus, you know, and like I said, they're $50, but, and I found on eBay that you can buy, as of, you know, I don't know, 8 months ago, on eBay you can buy just the can for like $45-50, something like that, as of like 6-8 months ago, something like that. But on one hand, that's a lot of money for a fuel can, but on the other hand, you know, all the fucking plastic jerry cans out there now, or plastic gas cans out there now, are, you know, even the cheapest ones are like $25 or something like that. So if this lasts twice as long as a plastic one, then, you know, you're already ahead, or you're broke even. If it lasts, you know, 2.5 times as long, then you're money ahead. The only thing that goes wrong with these is this rubber seal, because, of course, rubber doesn't last forever. But through Lexington Container Company, and I'm sure eBay and a bunch of other places, you can get these as well. These nozzles are good. The best nozzle that I found, though, I don't have it right now because I'm letting someone borrow it, is one of, you know, the bottom end looks... The steel portion looks just like this, but it's got the metal accordion nozzle on the end of it, and that is better than this. It flows fuel faster than this, and well worth the money. So, I guess the only plastic fuel can that I found worth a shit is these no-spill ones. These are actually like the only plastic fuel can that I've ever found that's worth a shit. This individual one here, I've probably had 6 years or something like that. And this button here, the valve, is starting to get a little bit sticky and a little bit annoying. But it does still work. Although, you know, if you leave this thing out in the sun and the UV and all that kind of stuff, it's going to, you know, shrivel up into a little crisp. And it is mostly airtight, but not 100%, just because it's quite simply plastic. You know, if you were to put, you know, fuel in here and leave it for a couple of years, I'm sure that the fuel level will go down a little bit just because of the fuel evaporating out of the fuel can, which is what I really like about these metal ones, is they are totally and completely airtight. And I think as far as a portable and small quantity of fuel, that's the best way to store fuel. And, you know, of course, you can just pick these up and just carry them wherever you want to. You know, if you had like a 55-gallon drum full of fuel or something like that, you're not moving that by yourself, at least not like, you know, trekking it through the woods or something like that. But you can grab 2 of those and, you know, go trekking through snow and shit, no problem. So, I do really like these things, but if you're, if say, you know, you're wanting to, you know, fill up like a little Honda generator or something like that, they are kind of a pain in the ass because pros and cons to everything. Like, they are latched very tightly and they're sealed very tightly. But if you want to use the fuel that's in it, you pull the pin out, lift that guy up, stick the nozzle in there, and stick that on there, and then as soon as you tip it over, it'll start pouring fuel out. It's obviously pretty quick to do and everything. But just to make life easier, you can get these Just Right fuel cans. And these, I get these for about $85 a piece, something like that, which obviously is more expensive than the other one. But the cool thing about these is they have a built-in valve right here. So you can pick these fuel cans up, tip them upside down, and then just feather how much fuel you want to put in it. And they got this spring-loaded lid right here to be able to put fuel in it, and it's got this little stainless steel screen on the inside, which I guess is actually solely intended as a flash arrestor. It's not, you know, most people call these a filter, and it does actually work for that. It'll keep the, you know, kibbles and bits out of there. But I guess it's intended, its function is as a flash arrestor. They make different sizes of these, 1 gallon, 2.5 gallon, everything. And they have this, I don't know, 3/4 or whatever it is, nozzle on the end of it. And then this other one here with like a 5/8 or so. And this small size is really nice for, you know, filling up the little inverter generators and shit. And then they come in a couple different colors, which is great for me because I've got different types of fuel, and so all my cans are color coded. So like, you know, those 2 are the same, and so on and so forth. The only sort of annoying thing about these, because again, pros and cons to everything, trade-offs and what have you, is that there's no way to hold the lid open, like with what it comes with, because the idea is, you know, if you're fueling this thing up with a nozzle or whatever, and, you know, catches fire or whatever, then if you just, you know, drop what you're doing and run away from it, then this will automatically slam shut. But if you're wanting to fill this, say, off of another jerry can or something, then you can actually stick a screwdriver in there, and it works quite well. And the reason that I refill this one here is, like I said, because it's got the smaller nozzle on there and is nice for filling up the little generators and shit. But yeah, you know, it's expensive, obviously. I do believe that these are American made. I think it said so somewhere. But they're very well made nonetheless. And, you know, I really wish that this kind of stuff was the standard as opposed to all that plastic shit, because, you know, it's just fucking wasteful to make something out of plastic and then, you know, use it for a year or two and throw it away. These things and these other ones, you know, if you take care of them, they'll last you a lifetime, and even then, after you die, you pass it on to somebody else. This style can here has been around, to my knowledge, at least since World War II. And I guess where the nickname jerry can came from is jerry was like a slang term or whatever for the Germans in World War II. And this was a German design. Hence, jerry can is my understanding of it anyways. But these have been around, to my knowledge, at least since like the late 30s or something, this style anyways. With this flip-up lid here. The U.S. used a can that looked very, very similar during the war, but it had a screw connection on the top of it. And if you go looking around on eBay and all that kind of stuff, you will find World War II era cans that, you know, have the date stamped into the side of them and all that kind of shit of, you know, 1943 and what have you. So, expensive to buy up front, but well worth it and lasts you a lifetime. And it's just, it fucking pisses me off, all these, you know, shitheads designing all this plastic crap, you know, just to, you know, only get you by for a year or two, and then, you know, it fucking breaks on you and they expect you to go out and buy another one. And the thing that really pisses me off about that is that's what most people do. You know, in the consumer has so much more power than they realize. You vote with every dollar you spend. If people stop buying the plastic ones and, you know, started buying these ones here, you betcha real fucking quick that they would, that, you know, that these would become obviously more popular, and all those plastic cans would go out of business and everything. Because nobody buys the shit, you know, then it's obviously the way it's going to work. But, you know, I could rant on for another hour about this, but just figured I'd talk about these cans real quick. These are the way to go, in my opinion, if you are wanting something that will last you a very long time. And obviously, you know, these would survive like a house fire, garage fire better than the plastic ones. Of course, a container holding a flammable liquid is a pretty shitty thing to have in a fire. But, you know, I'd rather something like this than the plastic ones.